Hey, it's me, Angela. So this is part 2 of me being in Budapest. So this was really kind of my R&R day. I decided to do thermal baths. And I thought I would do some sightseeing, but I didn't do so much of that, at least during the day. So let's get into this a little bit. In the last video, I talked about how people have been really friendly, and I realized I've really been dealing with younger generations that came along post-communist era of Hungary. And when I went and searched for thermal baths, there are several of them in Budapest. Most people, when you look up thermal baths, the first couple of them that are going to pop up are going to be like the really touristy ones or the larger baths. I'm not saying or discouraging you from going to those, but if you're comfortable, dig a little further and you will find the one I went to today. But before we get into that, I think it's called Shenji. It's the largest one. It's the one that people really gravitate towards because it has like the most options as far as there's actual like pools, and there's the thermal baths, and there's just a lot of area. Then you have some that they're of the Turkish style, which I believe it's Hudas, which is like Rudis, Rudas, and then Lucas, and Galert. And I think 2 of those are of the Turkish style, and the other one isn't quite so much. But Galert still does gender-based days, and I knew I wasn't going to that one today because Monday is a male-only day. There's only a couple of co-ed times. So I just kept scrolling at my options, and I found Dandar, I believe is how it's pronounced. I'm going to butcher all of these, per usual. And I'm looking through the reviews, and I see it's pretty local based. So most locals will go to that one. It's not very touristy. There's probably a few reasons for that. So I felt like a fish out of water, I guess pun intended, and really out of my comfort zone. So when you come in and you get your ticket, again, this one's way cheaper than all of the thermal baths, all the other ones, because for the price of my entry for all of the things that they had and to get a 45-minute massage, it was a little bit more than a day pass to the major thermal baths, which is, I felt like I was robbing someone because of how cheap my massage was. Anyway, so if you're trying to work with like a smaller budget, that would be the place to go. And if you want more of the localized experience, that's also the place to go. But keep in mind, you kind of have to just bite it off and just dig in, because after you get past that window, pretty much no one else that works there speaks English. So they do have a bar and a little like place to get food in the lower level. And they have a menu that's in English, but the person working the counter doesn't speak English. So just be patient and hope that they are patient with you as well. They do. You just gotta point and tell them what you want. But thankfully, some younger gentlemen were sitting there and realized I was trying to communicate and I spoke English, so they helped me out. So I was very grateful of that. And then most of the signs are also in English, but not all of them, and it's not super clear where everything is, so you kind of just have to be curious and poke around, okay? And rule number 1, bring some sandals, like flip-flops or sliders. I did not bring any. I thought I could maybe get some there, or it wouldn't be a big deal. No one asked me when I got my ticket if I had any. Probably because they just assumed that if I figured out how to get to this thermal bath, then I knew something. Because it is not a place that many tourists go to at all, especially tourists that don't speak the language. Because you might have people visiting from other places from Hungary, visiting Budapest, but they speak the language, and I obviously don't. So I was getting a lot of looks for a few reasons. Number one, I'm a young woman, because it was mostly elderly men, and then as the morning went, elderly people in general. And it wasn't until about 11 noon that I saw some younger people trickling in. So there's that, and then I was clearly not from around these parts, and I was literally the only person walking around without sandals of any kind. So I was getting some looks, but I just was like, I'm just gonna carefully walk around and just be aware, not to just, I don't know. It was just interesting. Okay, so if you're not wanting some grand experience and you're on a budget, this is the place for you. There's not a lot of options. So if you really just want a nice soak and you don't want all the hustle and bustle and crowdedness, this is a good one. I did find out yesterday from my tour guides that if you're gonna go on a Monday, go early, which were my intentions anyways, because I had already kind of gathered from Google, because it gives you that nice timeline of when things are busy, that by around 11 or noon, places start to get busier. Now, it depends when they open. So some of the like trendier places were going to open at 7 a.m. today or 6 a.m. There is one that they don't open until 3 p.m. Like, they're pretty much meant to be an evening, like, after work place. And I didn't really want to do that. So, because I wanted time for all my stuff to dry, and so I could pack it back up. And I'm looking up because it's hanging up on a loft. I'll show you at the end of this. So, I lost my train of thought. Sorry about that. Anyway, it was quite the experience. So there's like technically 3 pools inside and 2 outside. The 3 pools inside are more of your like medicinal thermal spa that you're looking for at 3 different temperatures. And then there's 2 more like jacuzzi pools outside at 2 slightly different temperatures, both still pretty warm. I spent way more time out there because they were way less crowded later in the day, because again, mostly local elderly people are here to use the thermal baths. And it was a nice day, so it was very comfortable outside. And when I say nice, it was like mid-50s by the time I left. Earlier in the day, it was like high 40s, and it was partially cloudy, which worked out well. And I did spend some time in the sauna, although they have like a mini sauna world, so it's a larger sauna, and then they have a cold bath that you can dip in, but that wasn't going to be open till 2 p.m. And when I got there, I wanted to get a massage, and the only opening they had was at 2:30 in the afternoon. So I spent a hot minute, like almost the entire day, at this thermal bath, when most people only spend a couple hours there. And I guess I got this impression that I could just do that because when I had contacted Shenji to like book an appointment originally, they said this was leading up to before my departure to Europe, or for Europe. They said, we don't really book the massages in advance. You just show up, you get your ticket, and then you can book your massage there, although plan to be there early in the day. And then, like I said, I didn't go there. So, I was like, what am I going to do for 5 hours? But I ended up just reading on my phone and enjoying the warm water, and it worked out. My skin feels amazing. And I was well rested and relaxed, I guess. And then I did have a massage, but don't think of it as some like luxury massage that maybe you might be used to. It's more like a sports massage. So it's really to like kind of just loosen things up. It was a different style than I'm used to. There was some stretching of like my legs, which was really nice, and they needed that from all the walking and such. So I did feel better afterwards, but obviously it had all hit me in the head, and I had a horrible migraine. And I thought, oh, I'm going to make the trek back, and I didn't. So I took a taxi ride back here because I just started to feel a little uneasy. And I took an hour and a half nap. So there went sightseeing during the day, which is fun. I just did some walking around for a couple of hours at night, and it was beautiful evening. So it played out fine. Got some photos of some of these really interesting buildings at night. And things are really well lit around here. So I haven't felt any uneasiness really. You do see some homeless people or some questionable characters. Last night I had an incident walking back from my tours yesterday. It was nighttime. I had covered my head with my scarf because it was still drizzling and I was cold, and maybe this person took me as being Muslim. I don't know. But I'm just walking along, and this homeless guy pushing a cart spat at me. Mostly got on my coat, but gross, right? That is the worst run-in I have had. And earlier in the day yesterday, like some people were mimicking one of the tour guides, and they were from the United States. Those are the two like rudest incidences that I've experienced, and one wasn't even directed at me, but one certainly was. So that was really, I didn't know what to do. I just kept walking. I wasn't like gonna start anything. I just cleaned myself up when I got back here, and that was that. So the thermal baths, like I said, really relaxing, but if you go to Dandar, you're probably going to get stared at because it is pretty much people from the area, but well worth it. Very inexpensive. It is a very well-kept pool. I noticed in reviews of the other ones, of the thermal baths, that people felt like they weren't very clean, and this one was. Everything was quite clean. So, I mean, aside from being uncomfortable, I was comfortable. Yeah, not much more than that. I did try to record this previously, and then something happened, and I can't remember what all I said up to that point, so I feel like I'm repeating myself. And I feel like this video and the last video, not well organized. My thoughts are just everywhere. I feel like I've had a lot of just things on my mind, and not in a bad way, just like trying to kind of lots of balloons in the air and trying to pull all the strings together. I'm thinking about stuff I have to do for my grad class, because I was just looking at that before I did this, of a project that I have coming up. Just things I need to take care of when I get home, because I'm 14 days into this trip. I have a week left. It's hard to believe, but now it's like, okay, reality is kicking in. I need to like get back into the mode of these things need to be taken care of. And then just making sure the last few things that I have coming along for this trip, go without a hitch. And I haven't been like looking for excellence in this trip, like everything has to be perfect, but there are certain things I'm like, okay, I don't want to miss this train. I want to make sure that I communicate with where I'm staying, if it's an Airbnb, and just have things kind of transportation wise, like to the airport, lined up. I am actually pretty ready to be home. I've thought about being home quite a bit. And it's not so much homesickness or that I don't like being on this trip. It has been a great experience, and I'm so glad that I did it. And I feel like I've reconnected with some things about myself that I've forgotten about. And but I'm looking forward to the next chapter of my life. I feel like this was an opportunity for me to shed a skin, a metamorphosis, if you will. And that's kind of where I'm at with this. But so it's a straight, like I have a week left, and I'm excited for my last 2 stops. Like I'm really excited, and I've enjoyed everything up to this point, but I'm also really looking forward to being back with my husband and in our home and working on the next chapter, I guess. So yeah, and maybe reprioritizing some things because I definitely haven't been putting a lot of effort towards my grad class, which is not a bad thing, I suppose. It's not like I'm turning out horrible work. Anyway, let me show you where I've been staying. So this was also an Airbnb. Where I stayed in Prague was an Airbnb. I splurged on this place, and when I say splurge, it actually was still pretty affordable. And even, yeah, I mean, it's the most space maybe that I've had. Maybe the place, no, I think the place in Prague was a little bit bigger. But location-wise, great location. If you can afford it and you can find a decent place, definitely staying in District 5 is worthwhile. Especially if you're close to what they consider their Broadway shopping area. I'm just slightly off of that. So it's very easy to get here, centralized. And if you're willing to make the trek from any of the 3 major train stations, if you come in by train, then it's worthwhile. Lots of great little eateries and such around, and it's just a nice, easy walk, in truth. So without further ado, I can't really show you the outside, and this is not the true scenery, obviously. This is a mural. But it's nice because it opens up the space. I can't really show you outside because it's dark, but this is in a building. This is on the ground floor, and it's a little bit of a mess over here because I'm packing things up. But there's this courtyard outside, and I will have pictures posted. So it's just kind of a nice little scene. So you're inside of a building. And when I say courtyard, it's not greenery or anything. It's just kind of the open square of the buildings. So it's an older building. It's deceptive from the outside. And then you walk in here, it's wow. Okay. So here is the entrance here. And it was kind of odd to figure out this lock because you had to lift the handle and lock. And then these windows, not the blinds, but the curtains were tied off, so you have nice sunlight. I thought this was a great touch. A true place to hang my things. And so things would dry off. And the bathroom here. And this is a little bit different. Excuse my mess. Because the shower head it's not attached to the wall. This is not an uncommon thing around here. I could have taken a bath. That would have taken forever filling the tub. But you are really kind of supposed to sit in there and like a bird bath type thing. It hasn't been that bad. We'll see when I wash my hair tomorrow though. This is what I found out. I thought these were purely towel heating racks. They're heaters for the bathroom. That's really their main use, but you can also heat your towel. This is a great sink here. Had plenty of space. I've been grateful. I've really more or less had plenty of space to just put my stuff everywhere. This is the first place I didn't really unpack, actually. Even though I was here for 4 nights, I didn't really unpack anything. I had a place. I just didn't. I was pretty lazy here. I even thought, oh, I'm going to get groceries and I'm going to cook things. And I didn't do that either because I have a full kitchen and I didn't even use it. I did use the fridge. There is a washing machine here, which I use. So this isn't uncommon either that the washing machine is in the kitchen. Not an uncommon thing I found because when I was searching other places also was like that. And then first place I've had an actual couch. Again, kind of a mess because you can see I've nested here. And I've actually been able to watch TV on the TV in English. I know that sounds really stupid. There is a channel that I've really enjoyed this entire time in Europe. It's just always in the native language, and that's totally fine with me. I don't have a problem with that, but it was nice to actually watch something not on my laptop. And I only do that like at night before bed. And then you go up these stairs. The bed is lofted. So, if you didn't catch over here, and I do have laundry hanging, sorry. I haven't even used this to eat either because I've just been on the go. So you climb up here. It's kind of a neat view. Like you've got these little cutouts. This window really got me because I thought, oh my gosh, people can see me through this window. It's not covered. It doesn't matter. There's actually a wall there, like there's an outer wall, and there's the secondary window that's kind of opened up to let air circulate, so nobody can see me. That really freaked me out. So loft bed. This area is perfect for me because look, there's still that much space before my head hits the top. But and more storage or place to put my things. I've definitely been sleeping in the middle, and I don't know, this is kind of a cool vibe. I kind of like this lofted bed thing. I'm not gonna lie. It's odd. At least at first it was, but now I really enjoyed it. So I guess like if I was really living here, I'm like, oh wow, all that can just peer over. And currently it's just been a drying rack. So there are lots of light switches, which is not a bad thing because I can easily turn off all the lights here, there, everywhere. But when you leave, some of these steps are steeper than others, so I have to be careful. There is one like master switch that will turn everything off, which is handy. So yeah, that's the place that this is the place I've been staying in. It's been very comfortable. Highly recommend it. If you want to know which Airbnb place it is, just let me know. If you ever come to Budapest, and I don't want to make you sick, so I'm going to stop twirling around. But anyway, I've just been rambling. Again, I just feel like this has been my video diary. But yeah, I would say I've had a much harder time communicating in general here. There are things in English, but not everything. And there are people that speak English, but not everyone. It's not as English-based as the other cities I've been to so far, and I'm not saying that there aren't enough of anything. I'm not at all saying that. You're just gonna have to understand the history of Hungary with the whole Austrian thing, because there are a lot of things written in German. So some instances I have been reading the German and not anything else if there's not any English. So that's a little bit odd. Very interesting history when you think about it. There's a lot of quilting of different overlaps and such and things of their history here. That's very unique. Because it's kind of been a battleground, I guess. You know, it originally was larger, and then it was smaller, and it was divided, and yeah, really interesting. Anyway, okay. I'm getting a sore throat from all this talking because this is the second time I've done this because the other one didn't record properly. I don't know, technology, whatever. Anyways, leg 4 is almost complete. And on to a much shorter leg in Vienna. Technically, I'm only there for two nights because I take a night train to Venice. But I go to the opera, and I can't wait to share that experience. So it's like the one super fancy, glitzy thing that I decided to do. Oh, and a Michelin star restaurant in Venice. So yeah, anyways, thanks for being on this journey with me, and I hope you enjoy, and I'm sorry I've been a little scatterbrained. I hope to be a little more organized, and I definitely will have some recap videos after I get back to the States. And of course, I have a bonus, like, comparison video of some things. So, all right. Coming to a close. One more week. We're 2/3 of the way through, and wow, I can't believe I did this. I was texting my mom about this. Sometimes it doesn't seem like a big deal, and other days it's like, wow, I did this. So anyways, thank you for being on this journey with me. Kusi or Kusunom. And see you at the next one. All right, bye.